The US government, led by Tesla, is in a battle for its life, but I'm not sure they even know that. Elon Musk and his brother Kimball are trying to sound the alarm. First, in a conference a few days ago, led by Y Combinator AI Startup School, Elon said he sees digital superintelligence to come, if not this year, then next year for sure. And he then also said that there's a 1,000-foot tsunami, which is AI, that's about to hit. Second, Kimball and Elon have been posting the last few days how China is leading in energy generation, not only with nuclear reactors, but also solar by magnitudes more. They say the US is not even aware we're in a race, especially with a recent big beautiful bill that will suddenly cut subsidies and incentives for solar and wind. They have a suggested proposal. Tesla is the main leader to get the US to dominance again. Let's explore all the ways that they help. We got Larry Goldberg here joining us today. Welcome, Larry.
Hey, Herbert. Excuse the get up. I'm on the road.
Not at all. You look great, and appreciate you taking the time. These topics is right up your alley. We've been talking about this. And here you've got Elon sounding the alarm a couple times. So first of all, we've got him being interviewed at the AI Startup School. And he said a few things, but this one, first of all, is quite shocking. He says, I think we're close to digital superintelligence. It may happen this year. If it doesn't happen this year, next year for sure. And a digital superintelligence defined as smarter than any human at anything. That's a crazy thought. So let's listen to what he says.
I think we're quite close to digital superintelligence. It may happen this year. If it doesn't happen this year, next year for sure. The digital superintelligence defined as smarter than any human at anything.
And then he's added that he said, talking about leaving Doge, imagine you're cleaning a beach which has a few needles, trash is dirty. Noodles, trash, and is dirty. There's a 1,000-foot tsunami, which is AI that's about to hit. You're not going to focus on cleaning the beach. I think he's realized that is what he needs to spend his time on. What's your thoughts about these comments?
Yeah, well, it's really, really, really bad to try and second guess Elon. I've learned the hard way that when he speaks, listen. Speak later, but listen first. So, the race for digital superintelligence is a pretty important one, and we'll talk about that at length in various guises as we talk about Elon. But when he talks about digital superintelligence, I kind of think about it as digital superintelligence occurring in multiple ways, in multiple time, in multiple places. So, how to pin it down. Will one chatbot become more intelligent than any other person responding, or will it be a multiple of combined resources? I don't know, but I do a lot of work with AI, using AI agents, AI tools, and it shocks me sometimes, the stuff that I get back and the capabilities and sometimes it very much disappoints me. I'm looking forward to the moment that it stops, that those disappointments stop and the surprises just continue. So I have to buy what he's selling in the sense that I think it's going to reach a point where we can literally choose an agent and it can act across all the requirements that we have. And that'll come in the next year. To me, it's quite a surprise. I thought it would take a little bit significantly longer, actually.
Yeah, what we're talking about today is whether or not the United States government recognizes that this is a race against not only digital superintelligence, but against other countries that are trying to get this, and whether or not they're supporting it. Because we're going to talk about energy and how just now Trump, one big beautiful bill, if this passes, basically here they're talking about proposed legislation. They're going to cut not only electric vehicles but also clean energy. We'll go through that in detail, but do you know what I mean? Like, do they understand that this is what's going to be impacted? This is the name of the game
it's
here.
Beyond clean energy. You said they're going to cut clean energy. Literally what you're saying is they're going to cut energy. It's not just clean energy.
Right.
Because if you think about batteries and you think about solar, it's about growing our energy supply. we don't have enough energy to support, you know, artificial general AGI. We just don't have enough energy to do it. So it's not just about you're replacing traditional energy. It's about growing our energy supply, and we desperately need all the above in terms of growing the energy supply. Nuclear is not going to do it for 10 or 15 years, even if we go, full at it. Coal is not going to do it for 10 or 15 years, even if we go full at it. Those are the two extremes. But what can do it very quickly and what can, support our grid expansively is renewable energy. And not the government not supplying it is like just saying to China, yep, you guys take over. We're good. We'll fade slowly into the distance. You guys kind of take over. I think that's what Elon's saying.
And we're going to share some data here that both Elon and Kimball were forwarding that shows that China is so far ahead in nuclear and solar, and this is what's needed for AI data centers. So in the meantime,
China's just far ahead in energy production, and energy production equals leadership in the modern world in terms of AI and in terms of just mass production. So if we don't want to compete with China, fine. But then you've got to say to yourselves, okay, great. We're not going to compete with China. They're going to beat us. That's a given.
Wow.
Otherwise, you've got to say, guys, it's got to be all the above. You have to provide 100% support for, solar. You've got to provide for wind, and you've got to provide for batteries. And if you're not doing that, you're not in the race.
Both Elon Musk and his brother Kimball are making a big deal about this. They're sounding the alarm. And so let's start with this. The one big beautiful bill. This is what's under the proposed legislation. First of all, the $7,500 federal tax credit for new EV purchases would end 100 days after this bill is signed into law. So if this bill is signed in July 4th, which is I think when people are thinking it will be a month from now, 180 days from there, you can't get this federal tax credit anymore, while the credit for leased EVs manufactured outside North America would end immediately. This $4,000 tax credit, these are for used EVs, that would expire 90 days after passage. Leased vehicles that meet stringent requirements, like if you're assembled in North America, if you're sourced, the battery and mineral content could still qualify for the $7,500 credit for up to 180 days post-enactment. Unlike the House's proposal, which would allow the new EV tax credit to continue through 2025, the Senate version accelerates the timeline. The Senate version gets rid of the House measure that would also extend credits through 2026 for automakers that haven't yet sold. So they are gonna cut it fast. Now, this is just the EV tax credits, but it also affects solar and wind energy projects, which cover 30%. This credit is reduced to 60% of its value by the end of 2026, 20% of its value by the end of 2027, and all projects that beginning construction by 2020 are ineligible for this credit. This is, again, so short-sighted. You got to think that China is incenting, they're creating incentives to build more energy, solar and wind energy. These guys are going to stop producing it or stop incenting it. So this includes energy storage, phased down to 75%, incentives for residential, and then there's a new fee. In fact, not only are you taking incentives, you're charging $250 annual registration fee for electric vehicles. Oh my gosh. Just more of this, and it can be signed in law as of July 4th.
Yeah, it's really hard to when you get a new government, regardless of your political views, if you're for that government, you're going to get quite a few things that you want. You're going to lose quite a few things. If you're opposed to that government, you're going to lose quite a lot of the stuff you want. But you are going to get some stuff where, there's alignment. And we're in this really strange situation where we get, a government that, pushes back against the extremes and the craziness of the last couple of years, but at the same time is doing some stuff which is not that great. And so You can see the difficulty that Elon faced within the administration.
Mm-hmm.
You can understand that, he's not aligned with a lot of stuff that the government is doing. But on the other hand, this government is, it's antediluvian. It's kind of regressing back to, some dark age that is not aligned with where we are today. But it's a pity because it's incredibly important to our position in the world, to the United States' position in the world now. There are other countries that may celebrate it, but the truth of the matter is, U.S. inventiveness and U.S. resourcefulness is going to overcome some of these problems. I believe.
I don't know. Let's take a look at the data because I don't know if people realize this. Look at this data. We're not even in the race, this guy says. Okay. This is nuclear reactors under construction by country as of June 2025. Do people realize this? China, it's not even like, where's the United States here? We're not even here. We don't have any. Now, this is nuclear. That's fine. But you can see how they have 30, 29.
It's not fine because nuclear is a really
It's one of the important things.
It's a potent backbone to energy supply.
Yeah. This is crazy if you think about it. Like they have 30 nuclear reactors under construction and the U.S. not even here. Elon reposted this. We're not even aware of the race. So here is, where we're at right now. So China, of course, is going to catch up in nuclear. Okay, that's fine. But look at China's solar. China's solar is magnitudes higher than U.S. solar.
Well, you have to look. Just recall that China has to support a population of 1.3 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
We have to support a population of about 400 million people.
1/5, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a very big difference between the two. China's requirements just to feed their population has to be 300%, 3 times what we do, at least. So that's a consideration. But, there's no reason for us to not participate in the race. There's every reason for us to over-participate, to pull our weight, to pull far more than our weight in the process. It's just, now you can see why Elon was so frustrated in the administration.
This you'll hear now, Kimball, I'm sure Elon, of course, understand this. Energy is not just for the population, it's for AI data centers. So this guy said, right, we're not even aware of the race. Elon reposted it. He also said they sure don't. They don't even realize we're not even in the race. So Kimball posted this and reposted this. He said, for those curious, our current subsidies of fossil fuels are about the same as our subsidies to solar and wind, $10 to $15 billion per year for both. We need both. We need them now. American independence, energy independence for the win. Thank you, Grok, for your summary. Take a look at this table here. So fossil fuels, $1 billion per year, solar and wind, $1 billion per year. These are the grants and loans. You got, how many projects, tax breaks, and since 1916, and this is just something that was temporary, but they're going to remove this. And he's saying what he suggests is a 10-year phase out. Why do you have to do it so quickly? The 10-year plan gives us until 2035 to replace the amazing growth of solar and wind. It also gives the industry time to adjust. The truth is we don't have a choice. Natural gas plants take 5 to 7 years to build. The 10-year plan gives us a buffer. If we don't do this, AI data centers will move offshore.
Yeah.
Just like us. AI data centers will move offshore. Just like us, they will have no choice. So that is his concern, is that you're going to cut it here. And right when we need these terawatt hours.
Yeah, one imagines that there's going to be, a Manhattan Project at a point in time. But we haven't had a Manhattan Project like a Manhattan Project ever since the Manhattan Project.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not true. Apollo was such a project. The race for the moon was such a project. But, it really requires an incredibly astute, far-seeing president to to take that kind of action. And I was hoping Trump would be that person, and he is a revolutionary president, but this is a revolution that he seems to be missing. And there was there was every possibility that Elon could have been the agent to have sparked it, but he hasn't sparked it. Now the question is, what is going to spark it? Will Kimball's material? I don't know. I think we have to look to a broader movement, and that's what we have to do, and we have to look at doing that on a grassroots basis. One thing's for sure, it doesn't help that the progressive left is on board. It doesn't help at all. What we need is to find those people who Trump trusts, who comes on board and who will make the case. And that's, practically speaking, that's the best opportunity we have.
So Elon did say recently he's been thinking about how to have 1 terawatt hours of compute, which needs power. So what do you think about his plan here, that regardless if the government is on board, regardless if the government is going to incentivize, subsidize, even penalize, it's crazy. You know that Elon was pretty upset when he said that you removed the EV credits, which is fine. He didn't want it, but he also wanted you to remove the oil and gas credits, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, look, Elon has proven again and again that he can overcome these setbacks, these negative, these lack of support. So we have to look to him to find the solutions. There are solutions out there. Look, our single biggest problem, without doubt, is the rise of China. Not just the rise of China, but the way we have enabled China to become hyper-competitive in all of technology, in all of industry, in all of manufacturing. Elon has shown us that we can actually offset that leadership in the automotive world, which is quite amazing. Now what he has to do is turn his attention to energy. He has to turn his attention he's already turned his attention to communication, but he also has to turn his attention to mass production, whether it's of consumer goods or capital goods or, a phone, whatever. He has to reteach the American people how to overcome those problems. And if he has to create a terawatt of power supply, he'll do it. You'll see he'll do it with or without the government support.
Yeah, I wonder if humanoid bots will be part of this, because which I don't know how, but let's assume that and he's hinted many times that the answer to data centers is solar and wind, and to be able to do solar, you need to have massive amounts of solar panels, right? Solar farms. Maybe there's some way that humanoid bots can help install them so that they're a lot cheaper.
The installation is not the issue. It's the manufacturing of them.
Of solar panels, yeah. But didn't you tell me before that it's already a commodity?
Yeah, China has scaled to such a point that it's almost inconceivable that we could compete unless we could find some better technology and then automate that. So we have there are a lot of challenges, and it's almost on every front. But, if you look at what Tesla's done, you look at how they've onshored lithium production, if you look at how they've sourced onshore lithium, if you look at every aspect of their operation, whether it's battery, whatever it is, you begin to see the clues of how we could revive American industrial policy and capability. But one thing's for sure, Trump is not going to make it happen, because Trump is still living in, some of the worlds that he grew up in. We need somebody with his political skill and political resources and attractiveness to be able to understand the opportunity of the future. Very demanding.
Yeah, that's Elon. He understands the future. And I don't understand why. I guess it's all politics. Why they don't listen to somebody who's proven how smart he is, and he knows what to do.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be president, and
No, not to be president, but yeah,
apparently he can't. He doesn't have the influence over Trump to be able to achieve the goal. So there it is. But
he
there's
tried.
reality. Yeah, here's the reality. The
Yeah.
problem is not what Trump wants. The problem is what Congress will deliver. And the problem about that is that every single member of Congress has this built-in commitment to his local district and to return value to the local district. So it's not about the national priority. It's all about the district level priority and the power of the lobby.
Okay, and so let's talk Tesla. What do you expect them to do in the next several years? You got XAI, that is billions of dollars, creating the largest supercomputers in the world. Elon already knowing that the next bottleneck is going to be transformers, but luckily, who is it that just his dad, Baglino, right? That created a new company. Drew Baglino created a new company to deal with transformers.
Or manufacture solid state transformers. That's going to be a tall order.
Sorry, what?
That is going to be a tough challenge, but Drew could probably pull it off.
And then the next challenge after that is terawatts of hour. I mean, it's going to be.
It's not just transformers. There's a lot. There's the generation of the power. Generation of the power ideally would be nuclear. That would be ideal. Short of that is solar. And actually, Elon prefers solar to nuclear. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're going to do solar, you're going to have to scale very, very dramatically. And if you're going to scale very, very dramatically, you place yourself at the whim and fancy of China. So the complexity is just pile one on top of the other. I'm sure Elon will find the solution.
Hopefully. Do you think it's going to be within Tesla, or will he spin off a new company?
I think Tesla Energy is the Deus Ex Machina. I don't think he's going to spin off another company. I think it's going to be within Tesla Energy.
And what do you think that's going to be? I still keep thinking it's a solar farm. But people say, no, that's a commodity.
They have many solar farms. They don't have one solar farm. They have many solar. They have a solar farm on almost every factory.
Mm-hmm.
Not almost, I think every factory.
Yeah, but they need to create massive solar farms. He recently said that
solar farm, there are quite a few challenges, and I don't think it's going to be a solar farm. I think it's going to be multiple solar farms, but the solar farms are going to be combined with multiple other components. I think solar farms are just a component.
Okay. And then do you think, there's going to be some new technology that he needs to come up with, or is it just a matter of building it and getting it out there?
Evolving technology. The story of Tesla and the story of Elon Musk is always evolving. He starts with what is given. He thinks about what is possible, and he works from what is given to what is possible. There are multiple different technologies that we'll have to see coming.
Yeah, but he's thinking big, right? So 1 terawatt of compute. He needs 1 terawatt of power to do that. So he's already thinking about this. So do you think he's already made moves? Because usually when
have you seen the size of the second big computer they're building in
Cortex in Texas? No. Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah, go and have a look at Joe's videos. It is gigantic. It is, I think it's probably 10x the size of Cortex 1.
10 times the size. But Cortex 1 is, Cortex 1. But XAI is supposed to build Colossus to be 1 million H100s. Is going to be bigger than that?
Here's the interesting thing. XAI are going to build this big computer, and they've already committed for all the material in the equipment. But Cortex is going to be, it's going to be the largest self-driving computer ever built, and it's going to incorporate the new inference chips. you've got XAI building this massive. And by the way, I think that it's being built. Cortex 2 is being built for Optimus more than it is being built.
Cortex is being built to be able to manage all the video that's going to come from all the Optimists walking around the real world.
Yeah. So, you combine those two, and who owns what and how, that's detail. I mean, that's literally technical detail. But you have an incredible, platform. And that's just the beginning. All of this is going to be done within the year or two. Within the year, you'll have, this gigantic computer in Tennessee. You'll have this gigantic computer in Austin. Oh my God! I mean, obviously he's thinking beyond that, and we're not permitted to share that. But that's kind of that's the beginning.
Okay,
you sound like he bought all the Transformers a long time ago.
Right?
Have you seen the store of computer?
Yeah.
That's not the problem right now. Maybe that's the problem for some future day. That's not the problem.
For now, for this year. Yeah, no, thank you for that. So he's always ahead, which is great. But you sound like you're very confident. And I hope he does. The point of them saying this is that you guys not realize what's actually happening in the world right now.
My confidence is simply based upon his track record.
Yeah. I hope you're right. But that's, again, another reason why Tesla and Elon is important. This is not just one little thing. This is basically super intelligence, data warehouses, dominance of energy generation, which will define centuries forward. So thank you, Larry. Appreciate you. Follow Larry on his X account, Tesla Larry. Thanks, everybody. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.